All right, all right. Welcome everybody to Money and Meaning, Career Possibilities in the Pilates Industry. This is an info session about the industry in general and in particular about our interstellar proprietary Pilates teacher training, which begins in about a month on Monday, October 20th. I'm going to give you all the download, all the information, answer some frequently asked questions, and be available to answer your particular questions as well. So, welcome in everyone. My name is Kiki Lovelace. My pronouns are she and they. And I am the founder of Interstellar Pilates and Yoga Studio here in Berkeley, California. I'm also the creatrix of our INNERCORE trauma-informed comprehensive Pilates teacher training. And I'm so happy to be with you today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your questions in the comments. Let's get into it. Here we go. So, if you'd like to share down in the comments below, share with us your name and your pronouns so that we can get to know you. You can do that right now as I get out my notes and we'll dig right in. All right. So, just a little bit about me. I want you all to know I started my Pilates career way back in 2001. Yes, a half a lifetime ago. I am 48 now, and I was 24 when I started teaching Pilates. I worked in various studios on the East Coast and West Coast for some years, and I launched my home studio in the dining room of my little Craftsman rental here in North Oakland back in 2007, which was a dream come true at the time. I, s- I absolutely knew that I wanted to have my own studio way before that. And so I built up my own clientele in my home studio and renting a space. If you know the East Bay well, it was a small space in the Fruitvale, not Fruitvale, it was in the Diamond District. And I built up my clientele. I was gal about town, working at all the studios and teaching yoga as well. And I opened Interstellar in its current location on 11/11/11, some years later on an auspicious day. After many years of dreaming and ideating and figuring out how to fund it, and after really a full year of negotiating the lease, as well as dealing with Berkeley permits and contractors and all that good stuff, um, and since then, I built and taught our Pilates teacher training. I've led international retreats. I've launched online courses, and of course, I've taught too many private sessions and classes to count. More recently, I've grown an online coaching business in the last 7 years or so, and I work in that business with small business owners from lots of different industries, from wellness to coaching to consulting to entertainment to education, art making, and product design. And I really love that other business as well. I've enjoyed it so much. So I feel uniquely qualified to lead you through this webinar today that I've called Money and Meaning Career Possibilities in the Pilates Industry, because I've truly seen it all. My plan today is to share with you the single most important action step you must take if you want to own your own home studio, which is like I highly recommend, or get a high-paying job as a Pilates instructor at your local gym or studio. I want to share with you what Pilates students really want in an instructor because I know you might think they care a lot about how young or trim or fit you are, but they actually really don't. And I also want to share with you 5 ways to make a living as a Pilates instructor and how much you can make in 2025, 2026 doing each one of them. I know some of you are eyeballing this as a possible like part-time gig, just as something you could do in the evenings and weekends. Maybe like you're a student, maybe you're a retiree, maybe you're somewhere in between. I know some of you actually do want to transition to wellness and Pilates instruction as a full-time job out of your tech job or out of some other career. And so hopefully I can shed some light on all those different possibilities because they're all possible in the Pilates industry. And at the end, of course, I'm going to share with you a little more about our INNERCORE Pilates teacher training. And I want you to know if you do enroll today within the next 48 hours of this recording, Let's see, right now, today is Monday, September 22nd. So by noon on Wednesday, the 24th, if you enroll via this training, you will have or via this webinar, you will have an opportunity to save $500 on your investment in any of the payment options. And you will also win 1 month unlimited reformer class pass to support you over this next month so you can get in shape for the training. Because let me tell you, if you're not doing regular Pilates, doing a month of Pilates 4 days a week minimum is very intense on your body. So I really want to encourage you, as I've been doing, to work out, get your body in Pilates shape over this next month so we can all have a great time when we're together, learning all the different repertoire in October. So yeah, so just FYI about that, I'll talk more about it in a little bit, but I want you to know, if you want the coupon link for the $500 off in the unlimited 1 month Reformer Class Pass, please comment below ready, READY, or email the word ready to info@interstellaryoga.com. You must get your first payment in, or if you're paying in full, that's fine too. You must get your payment in by noon on Wednesday in order to qualify for that. And there's no extensions on that. So it's like, if you're ready, let's go. If you're not ready, that's fine, but you'll just pay the $500 and you won't get the free pass. So there's that. Okay, so let's get into it. First, I want to share a few stats about the Pilates industry. The global Pilates and yoga studio market generated in US dollars $152 billion of revenue in 2023. But that's really insane, right? And is projected to grow at a rate of about 10% from 2024 to 2023 each year. What? That's totally insane, right? The market is expected to reach about $417 billion by 2023. 2033, sorry, 2033. Those numbers just like totally blow my mind. I've been in wellness so long, and to see it continue to grow and really see people like prioritize their own well-being, I don't know. It's profound. It's really profound. I so appreciate this, actually. The Pilates and yoga studio market is experiencing significant growth, especially Pilates, let me tell you, due to the growing fitness awareness among younger population and an upsurge in health consciousness. Furthermore, governmental initiatives, at least before, I don't know if this is true with this current regime, but government initiatives in the past promoting a healthy lifestyle, coupled with an increase in disposable income for some, are expected to contribute to the expanse of the market over the forecast period. We'll see how that all goes with our current government, right? New research shows that Pilates is absolutely booming. Career opportunities are at an all-time high. And I know, just like anecdotally, that is absolutely true for Interstellar. It is true for all the Pilates studios in the East Bay and the Bay Area in particular. Like, we are all just like hiring as fast as we can to keep up with the demand. It's actually really amazing how much Pilates is growing right now. So I want to share with you just a couple key stats that I found from a recent survey conducted by Balance Body, which is one of the leading manufacturers of Pilates equipment in the US. And it's actually a local company there in Sacramento. And we source all of our Pilates equipment from them and have for forever. So key insights from this new research include 77% of Pilates studios are growing. Whoa, so cool. And 67% are selling out classes and spots. New instructors entering the Pilates industry have grown 15% since 2015, with 34% of instructors starting in the past 7 years. And Pilates instructors remain in very high demand. Nearly 40% of studio owners say they need more Pilates instructors, and 30% are currently hiring new instructors. Oh my God, yes, totally. And it's not just about market demand. Pilates instructors love their jobs, and 72% of them report high career satisfaction. How cool is that? In fact, 89% of instructors strongly agree that they love their job as a Pilates instructor. I just think that's so amazing. So many people in other industries hate their jobs. So I just think that's so cool. And 92% would recommend Pilates as a great career for others. And 79% look forward to going to work every day. So good, so good. So why do Pilates instructors love their jobs? It's primarily, I think, their passion for Pilates, of course, like the actual work and being with people and helping people with their wellness, with their bodies, with their nervous system, etc. And perhaps some of the personal health benefits they get or they experience at work. But 94% of them in this study said that they get to help, the fact that they get to help others make a difference in their lives is a big reason why they love their job. And 89% felt a sense of purpose and they enjoy the ability to help people. Love that so much. And then 85% say that teaching Pilates is good for their personal physical health and fitness. Yes. And again, anecdotally, I'll just share with you that we're here in the San Francisco Bay Area. Sometimes I have people that like are coming out of a very intense career in tech or some other corporate life. And they so appreciate the ability to make their own schedule. Like, a full-time Pilates instructor teaches 6 hours a day. And so with a lunch break and like a little time to work out, like you've got an 8 hour day. It's not a 10 hour day, and you've already done your workout and had like an hour to yourself. So it's like it's a totally different pace of life than some of those tech jobs or some of those corporate jobs. And I know so many people in our community just so appreciate the ability to make a really decent living, make their own schedule, decide, oh, I only want to work this amount of time, or I want to work these hours so I can see I can drop off my kids, I can pick them back up, etc. And I want to tell you a little bit more about that because becoming a Pilates instructor offers a really unique combination of job flexibility, variety, and personal fulfillment. Instructors can work part-time or full-time. They can teach in multiple formats, in locations, while really enjoying a sense of purpose and autonomy too, if that's important to you. 84% of instructors say they enjoy a flexible work schedule and work when they want to. On average, instructors work 4 to 5 hours a day or 15 to 20 hours a week. That's pretty typical in my experience as well. 40% of instructors in this study have a different primary career and they teach Pilates on the side. And 33% of instructors have children at home. 70% say their Pilates career has positively complemented their role as a parent. So cool. Obsessed. Totally obsessed with these stats. So I think the biggest block that I see in those who have secret dreams to teach Pilates is they think they're not young enough or fit enough or skinny enough or experienced enough maybe to be an effective Pilates teacher. And I'm here to tell you, while there may be some markets and some studios where the students do care about those things and they might judge you like secretly or maybe not so secretly. I just want you to know that has not been my experience as a Pilates studio owner or teacher. Some people come to Interstellar explicitly because they sense it will be a warm and welcoming place, even if they have marginalized identities that are traditionally excluded from most wellness spaces, which are usually, I'm sure you know, like white, cisgendered, able-bodied spaces. Uh, and so, in my experience, people really appreciate the opportunity to come learn from someone who is fat, who is neurodiverse, who maybe has like a chronic disability or, a chronic illness, or who is a person of color. People really appreciate like learning about health and wellness from someone who is like them or even not like them but like someone who is imperfect, who like doesn't fit the typical vision of like a young trim fit Pilates instructor. And so I just want you to know that can be like actually your superpower is just like being who you are, right? And this is like true for Pilates and it's true for life. But the more authentic you are and the more you bring forward your power and your authenticity, the more your people will find you. You'll be like a magnet to them. And so I really want you to understand that. So here are 5 ways to make a living as a Pilates instructor. And I wanted to talk to you very frankly about how much money you can make doing each one of them in 2025, because I know for some of you, of course, you want a career that's meaningful to you, but like there are realities here of like paying the bills. So let's get real about it. So, number one, Pilates instructor about town. This is like very low commitment, low investment, really. Once you get your teacher training paid for, or even just get on a payment plan for the teacher training, like you can start doing this right away. Literally the day after graduation, you can start doing this and you will find work. I would say eight, 8 out of 10 of our graduates from our teacher training are working within the first 30 days after graduation. So the pay ranges for gal about town or person about town. Um, who's teaching Pilates at various studios or, maybe at one place or maybe five places. The pay range is from $25 an hour to $75 an hour. That's like pretty typical range. Now, in order to make $75 an hour at most studios, you have to have a certain amount of experience. Um, and some studios don't go as low as $25 an hour. So that's a pretty big range. For us in 2026 and for our graduates that we hire out of this particular training in the end of 2025, they will start at $40 an hour at Interstellar. So yeah, that's a big range, but I just want you to understand the range. 25 to $75 an hour is fairly typical, depending on your experience. A well-paid instructor who has more experience and it really has like a pretty like full 20, 25-hour week schedule. Some people work a little less, a little more, but around there, you can make 60 to 75K a year doing that route. Now, home studio owner. Again, you'll set your own hours for this. You might have your equipment in a little ADU or maybe in a room in your apartment or perhaps like in your garage or something like that. The standard price for that, from what I've seen in 2025, is 125 an hour, 120 an hour, something like that. Totally palatable because, at studios, it's more than that usually. Um, so do that math there, because that's like really something. You can make 120K a year if you work 20 hours a week, 48 weeks a year. Like take 4 weeks off, my friend, and you'll still make a six-figure salary. So if you're replacing a tech income and you have a little bit of entrepreneur DNA, that's a really good route. That is a very good route for reals. Now, some people, when they're building their home practice, they also work in a studio environment, partially because they like learning from, if the studio is more of an educational studio like ours is, they like learning, they like the social piece of it. They're just like growing and learning. But, if you really need to make this work financially, that's going to be a very good choice for you to build your own home practice, right? With your own clientele. Yeah, and I could speak a lot about that because I did that myself, and it's really quite nice actually. Now I want to talk about being a commercial studio owner because obviously that's been my experience for almost 15 years. One location can grow to multi six figures in revenue with a six-figure annual paycheck. If you were to scale to multiple locations, you could easily gross seven figures or multi seven figures and then take home multi six figures or even seven figures. But that it takes time. It takes a lot of risk, responsibility, investment, years. So I just want you to understand that is like I wouldn't recommend doing that at the outset. Unless you have some business acumen, and if you do, I might recommend acquiring a business as a starting place. Not even starting your own, but just like acquiring one and that already has clientele, that already has teachers, already has a good reputation. Start running that stuff from the back end, even if you do want to take the teacher training, just so that you can sub or so you can understand how to spot good hires and stuff. You don't necessarily have to be a teacher to be a studio owner, but it can be useful. Now, let's talk about being a local and international retreat leader because retreats are another really growing industry in wellness, very much. People are really into wellness retreats. Um, and so, yeah, if you price it properly, if you lead like 2 to 3 higher end retreats, it could mean six figures in revenue, 50K more or more in take-home pay if you price it properly. Now, that does take some knowledge, some know-how. Usually people are underpriced their retreats. Not like underpriced as in like for the audience. I'm just saying people don't understand the realities of how expensive it is to host a retreat. So they underprice it and then their profit margins aren't very big. I know someone looking on the outside, it might seem exorbitant, but it's like that's actually the cost of it. That's the true cost of it. So yeah, that's possible. The one thing you need to think about if you're into the idea of building a retreat business is you need sort of a funnel for the retreat business. And usually that is your Pilates classes and private students. That is the funnel to get them into the retreat. It's not usually randoms off the street that will buy your high-end retreat in, Spain, or something like that. They will need to know you ahead of time, probably at your home business or at your studio business in order to do that. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, I want to talk about what's become a little more commonplace over the last, I would say, 5 years or so. An online Pilates coach, like a hybrid sort of course leader or a course leader. This is someone who builds a Pilates course and then gets enrollments in the course, maybe has a course community or some coaching component of it, whether it's group or one-on-one. So yeah, I mean, this can be done as an evergreen course that's like constantly enrolling and, like you can enroll today or tomorrow or in 3 months or whatever. Or you can do this in the form of like a launch style cohort. You run like 2 or 3 cohorts a year. Yeah, I mean, I teach some of my clients how to build courses like this because that's exactly how I've built my business coaching business. And what I see with Pilates is a lot of my quite talented Pilates instructor people who have sort of a niche or a specialty, whether it's in low back pain or scoliosis or something like that, they'll build a niche sort of focused course. And they sometimes, many of them charge $2,000 or $3,000 per enrollment for like a 3-month course. And so you can do the math on that, if that's really your bag and that's what you want to grow. Again, growing something this entrepreneur way, it takes investment, it takes time, it takes failing your way forward. That's like how all of us learn how to run a small business. But if that's something you really want to do, that's absolutely available to you. And again, you just have to figure out like what is the funnel to get people into this course. If you're an online course creator, you're going to spend more time online. If you're more of a brick and mortar kind of person, you don't have to spend that much time online. You can do a lot of your marketing, maybe via email, but also like via networking and your in-person connections. So that depends. So yeah, I mean, as you can probably gather, like you make less money if you work for someone else. If you want to make more money, you have to have a little bit of entrepreneurial spirit in the Pilates world. So there's that. You get to choose which route you want to go. But I will tell you, the single most important thing you need to do to get started is to invest in a comprehensive Pilates teacher training that is 100 hours or more. A typical comprehensive training is about 100, 110 hours, just like ours. There are some online trainings that are like 3 hours on the internet for like $55, and I wouldn't recommend them because you'll walk into a classroom, maybe you get hired, and you'll walk into your gym or your classroom and you will have no fucking clue what you're doing. So, you get what you pay for there. But the gold standard in our industry is a comprehensive Pilates instructor training that teaches you not only the mat repertoire, but also reformer, trapeze, wounded chair, and barrels. And that's exactly what we do in our training. If you pick a good one upon graduation, you will immediately be eligible and qualified to teach in a gym, studio, or home setting immediately. After the day after you graduate, you can start teaching and you will be as prepared as ever to start teaching. And like I said, the vast majority of our graduates from our INNERCORE Pilates instructor training are hired for their first gig within the first 30 days of graduation. I often have studio owner colleagues and friends of mine banging on my doors and sliding up in my DMs like, who's graduating? Can I hire them? Will you please introduce me to them? Because they know that we have a really strong teacher training, and their new hires will be very well educated and confident as they walk into a classroom or a private setting. Okay, so we're gonna get into like an FAQ, Q&A kind of thing in a minute, but before we do that, I'd love to give you a little bit of information about our teacher training, which I've been talking about a tiny bit. So, like I said, it's called the INNERCORE Comprehensive Pilates Teacher Training. It is the only trauma-informed comprehensive instructor training in all of North America that I have researched. It is perfect for you if you want to deepen your Pilates practice and get super strong and fit, if you want to learn how to use Pilates to help heal injuries and chronic pain, if you want to build your self-confidence as a leader and speaker, and if you want to learn concrete skills to become an extraordinary Pilates instructor so you can share this truly life-changing practice with others in an inclusive and trauma-informed way. Our graduates choose our training because, number one, because it's time efficient. Most of the other trainings out there take about a year to complete, and they're like, weekend here, weekend there. Ours is comprehensive and it is done in 4 weeks. There's about 30 hours of online work, which I can show you quickly what it looks like. This is in our online portal here. And yeah, you get instant access to this when you make your first payment in our teacher training. And so you'll start to move through this on your own time. There's all kinds of video trainings in there. And there's our INNERCORE manual, and some important articles and things like that. So that's that. Let me stop my share for a second. And then, of course, that's on your own time. We encourage you to do that now in this month before training, and certainly like front loading it in the beginning of your training, because your experience of the in-person work, which is about 80 hours inside our training, will be that much more enlivening with that base of information from the online portal. So that's really the number one reason I think our trainees choose our teacher training, because they can do it so quickly and be working within 30 days. So really a total 60 days max, really. Um, Another reason why our graduates choose our training is because it's trauma informed. We teach our trainees to conduct sessions and classes within their proper scope of practice, guided by principles of trauma-informed facilitation that are really designed to make Pilates classes and sessions more inclusive and welcoming to students who are often left behind or othered in traditional wellness studio settings. So I'm talking about older folks, fat people, BIPOC folks, disabled people, queer and or neurodiverse folks. Like, we explicitly make space for these people in trauma-informed facilitators spaces. And I'm really excited to teach you some of the things that you can do in order to do that. The other reason why our people are so attracted to our training is because of our specialty in chronic pain and injury. Our teacher training centers around sound, strength, and fitness practices, specifically formatted to help post-rehab students recover from pain, injury, and surgery with as minimal wear and tear as possible. The exercises, the sequencing, the cueing all come together to create an environment that is truly healing and supportive, even to our most fragile, deconditioned clients. We're really proud of how accessible INNERCORE Pilates is for so many different kinds of students. And we're so excited to teach you how to make your services really accessible for all different kinds of people who walk through your door. You might be wondering a little bit more specifically about, like, what does it mean to teach teach Pilates in a trauma-informed way. And of course, we'll get into this more in the training, but just to give you like little sort of broad brushstrokes, I want you to know that a trauma-informed Pilates space is a space where we ask for consent before touching, where we give options, generally 2 options per move, one that is the most accessible, and then maybe one other. We always assume that the student knows their body better than we do, the teacher, and that they can make good choices for themselves, so we don't micromanage. We tell them what we're going to do, so there's no surprises. We often work not with the same exact exercise. It's not very like rote or routine, but there's a certain flow in our inner core sequencing that the students come to expect and really feel comforted by. Um, we in trauma-informed teaching, we recognize that we're not all having the same experience. I know it's tempting to cue that way or think that way, but that's not true. Not every single person in your classroom is having the same experience of the exercise as you, right? And that's important to remember. We use inclusive, non-gendered language as much as possible. It's kind of challenging in my experience to like move out of your vocabulary some of the uninclusive ways that we speak or the gendered ways that we speak, but we really make an effort to do that. And we use invitational language, creating a learning environment that's as much as possible free of pressure and competition, right? Our teacher training has two investment levels, and a lot of people have questions about this. So I'm going to kind of segue into the FAQs so I can start to answer some of those questions I know some of you have. Um, and please write any other questions in the comments below, and I will pop in and make sure to answer those for you. Or if you prefer to keep it private, you can email info@interstellaryoga.com your questions. Just write teacher training question in the subject line, and we'll get right back to you within 24 hours. So yeah, so there's, in terms of investment options, there's two different tiers of investment for our teacher training. The basic one is called the Gold Teacher Tier. That includes all in-person training hours and that self-paced online learning portal, which I just shared with you a moment ago. Um, and that's the basic one. It is, you'll see there's a payment plan option and then also a pay in full option. You know, if you can make it work, the pay in full option, you save more money if you pay in full. And you will, if you do either comment below ready or email us to that info address, the word ready. We'll send you this coupon link in the next so that you can invest and get $500 off in any of those options. Now, there's a second option that is called our second tier called the Platinum Apprentice tier. And this is actually our most popular tier. Most of our people invest in this tier. So this includes all the contact hours. It includes the online library and of course our manual. It includes actually paper manuals as well, which you'll be bringing in to the training times and making notes on. It also includes unlimited self-practice and observation hours at the studio during the teacher training term, plus 6 months of all kinds of goodies. It's called our Prepare for Your Pilates Instructor Certification Program, and it's like a 6 month, essentially like apprenticeship. And yeah, a lot of our people do that who really want to bang out the apprentice hours, which I'll tell you about in a moment. So you can learn more about what that is and what that includes on our website, interstellaryoga.com/Pilates teacher training. And again, you'll get $500 off if you enroll in any of those options today, tomorrow, and through noon on Wednesday. So let me tell you about the apprentice hours, because that's another FAQ that a lot of people have, because I want to explain that part. So once you finish our training and reading the modules and completing the online homework, okay, so it's about 108 hours or so of work, you will graduate with a designation that we call Pilates Apprentice. This is the name of your title, essentially, upon graduation. As a Pilates apprentice, you can absolutely get work around town. You could start getting paid work right away. Many of our apprentices and the apprentices in the whole Pilates universe choose to do their apprenticeship hours, which is about 400 additional hours. And then at the end of that, they test out to become a comprehensive Pilates instructor, not apprentice level, but comprehensive Pilates instructor. And then some of them go on to do another certification test with the Pilates Method Alliance that is an internationally recognized certification. And those folks who pass that test become what's called a certified Pilates instructor. So there's really three designations. Um, there's apprentice Pilates instructor, comprehensive Pilates instructor, and certified Pilates instructor. Sometimes you'll hear some sub designations like senior instructor, but that just means that they've been teaching for many, many years, usually 10 or more years. Um, and so what does this entail? Like these apprentice hours? Let me tell you about that. So after you finished your training, if you choose, you can do these apprentice hours, you can log them, and that will make you eligible to do the first test, which is with me or one of my team members, your test out to become a comprehensive Pilates instructor. And so those hours are comprised of three components. There's 100 observation hours where you observe another teacher um, teaching privates or classes. We have some guidelines around that. Some of it can be online, and we hope some of it will be in person as well. And then there's 100 self-practice hours. Again, there's some guidelines around that. It's not just mat, you got to be on the equipment as well. And then there's 200 teaching hours. And for most of you, those will be paid teaching hours. You just get paid as you do it and just keep logging it. And then when you're done with your 200 hours, you can contact me to schedule your test. So what's the deal with the test? I know. I know you have questions. I'm here to answer. So, what's the deal with the test? Okay. So the test you'll learn about a little bit more in the future because oftentimes it takes people 6 months to 2 years to complete all those hours before they're ready to schedule their test. But the test I run about twice a year when people are ready. I usually do a couple people, 2 or 3 people at a time, from various graduating classes. And the test is comprised of a multiple choice test, a sort of case study written portion, as well as a practical portion where I actually watch you teach, either in person or if you live elsewhere, we can do it online. And then you're graded on each of those sections. And if you have a passing grade, you are awarded our comprehensive Pilates instructor designation. You get a shiny certificate, and it's quite an exciting day. And oftentimes, at least at Interstellar, that unlocks a new level of pay rate for us. So when you do finish that test, you're automatically eligible for a raise, even if we're not in our raise period, which is for us, it's we try to give our team raises every February. So even if you do that and like in June or something, you'll be eligible for another raise right away. Now, as I said, some people, once they have that comprehensive Pilates instructor designation, they take that sheet of paper and they present it to an organization called the Pilates Method Alliance, and then they schedule their certification test with them. So that's the order of things. You can choose to do it or not. You know, essentially you'll start getting paid to be a teacher right after graduation, and then you can choose to do those things or not. But I highly recommend doing it because not only will you feel very accomplished when you've done it, but also you will actually learn a lot by having the discipline to follow through on observing, practicing yourself, and then doing all those teaching hours and then studying for the test. Like it'll make you a better teacher, and make you more confident. So it's highly worthwhile. Yes. Okay. So I'm curious, and I'd love for you to comment below. Do you have any other questions? Do you have questions about our training? Do you have questions about the Pilates industry here in the Bay Area or else, or even internationally? Like some of our people take our training and then they move away. They move to somewhere else in the States or they move away internationally. I mean, maybe I'll leave you with that, a couple of answers to that question as well. Because some of you, I bet, are planning that. So I want you to know that's totally cool. Of course, we'll support you in that. We're very happy, to support our trainees in getting work elsewhere. I do have, because I've been in this industry since I was a baby, I actually have a ton of contacts in a lot of cities in the US. I even know some international studio owners. It's partially because I teach studio owners how to grow their business. So I actually really do know a lot of people all over the world. And I can actually make some introductions for you if I know somebody in the city that you're moving to. Pilates is actually quite popular all over the world, in Central and South America, in Europe. In Asia, it is hopping. So it is not hard to find a Pilates instructor job in most every place in the world right now. And I will tell you that that certification designation from the PMA is widely recognized internationally. So if you do get that, it becomes extremely easy to get a job, extremely easy. Um, yeah, so I wish you luck with that if that's the grand plan. You can move somewhere by December because we'll be done by mid-November for sure with your training hours here at Interstellar. So yeah, please do comment below. If you have any other questions, I will return to this thread and make sure I answer them in short order. Comment also below the word ready if you want the payment link with the coupon to enroll in our teacher training, which will unlock not only that $500 off for the next 48 hours, but it will also unlock a complimentary month of unlimited reformer classes here at the studio so you can get in shape for our teacher training that starts on Monday, October 20th. I cannot wait to invite you into this cohort. We have four slots left for this particular one. And I know some of you are thinking about joining next year, and I just want to give you a preview. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes at Interstellar. I'm actually not sure that we will run a spring training. I do think we will run another training in the fall next year, but I just want to preview that like if now's a good time, now's a good time. Let's do it now, right? And so, yes, let us know if you have any questions either in the comments or by emailing info@interstellaryoga.com. And I'm wishing you a really wonderful rest of your day. Thanks, everybody. Talk soon.